All right, so it is official. Tyson Fury getting back into the ring, but with Francis Ngannou, and this was a fight that a lot of people heard rumblings about before, and it's been official now. It's going to go down October 28th in Saudi Arabia. A couple of things that you need to know about this fight is it will be an official boxing match. They're going to use the 10-point system. The one thing that we aren't aware of is it an exhibition or is it going to be viewed as a professional fight? And the difference between that will be, for example, if Tyson Fury or you know what? Let's switch it. If Francis Ngannou was to knock out Tyson Fury and it was just an exhibition, it wouldn't count on Tyson Fury's record. So that's what that kind of means. Other than that, though, we also don't know if it's for Tyson Fury's belt. But of course, if it's an exhibition, it won't be. And I am kind of thinking that it is going to be viewed as an exhibition bout and not a professional bout where Tyson Fury is going to be putting his belt on the line for this one. But this is a fight where Tyson Fury is going into the ring after, so much speculation over the last few months, whether he was going to fight Anthony Joshua. And there was that whole debacle, and then there was the Alexander Usyk one. And now he's getting into a ring with an MMA fighter who is no longer part of the UFC. So, Bryan, what are your thoughts on this?
I was actually asked about this fight a lot at an event I was at yesterday. People came to me for the curiosity, so to speak, which I found very interesting. But look, Tyson Fury is annoying because he's fighting Francis Ngannou as opposed to fighting somebody who's, Deontay Wilder again. I would even take that over this. But he's not fighting Alexander Usyk being the main thing. And there were talks about that, as you alluded to. We thought maybe potentially we would get that earlier this year. We even recorded an episode or two on it. Like, this might actually happen. There was some sort of an agreement. And then we covered when the agreement fell apart, because Tyson Fury fights just tend to fall apart sometimes. And with Anthony Joshua last year, a lot of people weren't even that excited for it, but they would have watched it because Anthony Joshua had just lost to Alexander Usyk twice. And it's like, okay, so he's going to go into a title shot now against Tyson Fury. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but boxing is boxing. So you're resigned to think, hey, whatever, like, you'll just take what you can get at this point. And this week, we get this announcement that he's going to fight Francis Ngannou. It comes together very quickly. Publicly, it comes together quickly, not necessarily privately. They've been working on this for a while. And to do it in Saudi Arabia, you already know what that means. Francis Ngannou is going to get a shit ton of money, more than he's ever gotten in a UFC fight. The most that he got in a UFC fight on purse alone, I believe, was a little bit over 600,000 when he fought Cyril Gane or something along those lines. Whatever he makes now is going to slaughter that. And it should be noted that from the business side of this, Tyson Fury has that big deal with Top Rank Boxing, where it's like, you said it recently, 100 million over like 5 or 6 fights or something like that, right? 8 figures a fight, comfortably 8 figures a fight. So whatever he gets from this fight, it's going to be, maybe 20, maybe whatever it is, going to be a shit ton of money. And for Francis Ngannou, he's going to get more than he's ever had for a fight, because he's with PFL, who is signed to ESPN. PFL, part of the deal was they're going to let him box also. And PFL, for people who don't know, is another MMA promotion that is right now, I would say, second biggest in the country, or second best in the country, ahead of Bellator after the UFC, because of how they've been growing and what they've been doing lately. Clarissa Shields is over there for boxing fans watching this. And for other MMA fans, there's like, Shane Burgos is over there, and, Kayla Harrison, who had a big title run at featherweight up until losing to Larissa Pacheco. Yeah, I watched some PFL as well. So that's kind of where we're at with it. But this is a spectacle, and I kind of hope it's not like a real fight. And the WBC has already said that they're not going to strip Tyson Fury of the title, which I found interesting. So I don't think Francis Ngannou deserves a title shot, but it'll be interesting to see him box, and he's going right to the top of the ladder. But like, there's no chance he wins this fight, in my opinion. And I think I saw somewhere that Tyson Fury is listed as a minus 1,000 favorite. If it's only that, I think it's going to grow between now and then.
Yeah, and when I heard this fight officially got announced, my first thought was, man, I really do not care about this fight. Now, I think because this is a show, I have to say something that is a little bit appealing where you might be like, whoa, she gave a really good point. So I was trying to think other than the fact that I do not care.
That's
Uh,
why I talked her into doing this episode. She
didn't want to do it.
wants to do an episode, but like she was kind of like, do we have to do it on this? Should we do it on something else? And I was like, look, man, we kind of gotta this is what we gotta talk about.
So here's how I kind of look at it. I think as a boxing fan, I am just extremely annoyed with Tyson Fury. And usually I'm all about his, little things that he does online. Like I get a kick out of it. But ever since those Anthony Joshua talks kind of broke apart, that annoyed me because that was a fight that I was kind of interested in seeing, even though Anthony Joshua was coming off of L's, because I think that was a fight that could have done really well, obviously huge in the UK. It would be massive, right? Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, it would do well here too in North America. Like that is a massive fight that I think would bring a lot of numbers. And let's be serious, it would be nice to just see them in the ring. I think Tyson Fury would end up knocking him out or something like that, but I would take Tyson Fury. And then I think as boxing fans, we all just want to see this fight with Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury for undisputed. Like that's the fight that we all want to see. So when these talks were going about, and it seems like the talks fell apart because of Tyson Fury. And it came down
Multiple times,
to
yes.
him being that guy that kind of made these talks fall apart. And let's not forget, before any of this, he was talking about that he retired. Like that was another thing too. So it's just game after game after game. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I think he did duck Alexander Usyk because now he's just going for a money grab. I know Alexander Usyk is going to be fighting his mandatory and Daniel Dubois. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. You know what I mean? But I think the fact that, I'm retiring, these talks with Anthony Joshua fall apart. His offer to Alexander Usyk is crazy. I think he was offering 70-30 or something like that. Like just wild stuff. And I'm just at the point where I'm like, I don't care about you fighting Francis Ngannou. I really don't care because at the end of the day, it seems like you're ducking Usyk now with all of this stuff. This is just a big cash grab. We know it's going to be an exhibition bout. We know that it's not going to be for the title. We know that Francis Ngannou is going to get paid. And I'm really happy for that side. I'm happy Francis Ngannou is going to make some paper because it's going to be in Saudi Arabia and this is going to be his biggest payday yet. But this is not a fight that I was ever looking forward to or ever wanted. So will I watch it? Yes, I think a lot of casual fans will be into it. I think a lot of people might be into buying this pay-per-view. I would not have a fight party for this fight because I don't care for it. Will I watch it? Yes, but it's not the fight that I want, especially for Tyson Fury, who I think is 34 years old now.
Yep.
So
he's 35 soon.
He's getting older. And so if this is a Tyson Fury that we're going to get playing games online, saying that he retired, and then we're getting a fight with him with MMA fighter, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Happy as hell for Francis Ngannou. Do your thing. Tyson Fury is going to make some paper too. But at the end of the day, that's all it looks like. It doesn't even look like he wants to fight Alexander Usyk now, because I do think if Tyson Fury was really serious about, sailing off into the sunset, fight Alexander Usyk. And if you beat him, that's it. Like, you'll make mad money and you can just sail off into the sunset. And everyone's talking about how Francis Ngannou, when we talk about like the skill set of this, that he does have a puncher's chance. Like, he does have raw power. I think that's the only way that he wins. But it's like, we also saw Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't care about this fight at all. And unfortunately, it's the fight that we're getting. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But Ngannou, of course, does have a chance because he's got that power in his hands. But Tyson Fury is going to win. He's not going to outbox him. So he has to knock him out. And we've seen Tyson Fury in the ring with Deontay Wilder. So, I mean, it is what it is. We're getting the fight, but I'm not too excited about it.
A couple different things before we wrap on this. One, if I built somebody in a lab to potentially beat Tyson Fury, it would be somebody like Deontay Wilder. Probably the same height, size, reach, length, power. Because it's not going to be a guy like Alexander Usyk. Sorry, I don't think he's going to beat Tyson Fury. I think he's too small to really outbox him, if that makes a lot of sense, because of the way Tyson Fury can box and move his head and has power for, somebody as nimble as he is. Like, he just has like almost an unbeatable combination of skills, even though he has said, and this is why I think Tyson Fury will be beat one day, just won't be by Francis Ngannou, but he has said, look, I'm going to lose. because I'm going to hang on for too long. He said that more or less in an interview before. He's going to be one of these guys that he just can't give up boxing, and we'll probably be looking at him at 43 years old with a 42-3 record because he hung around for too long and just started getting knocked out. I don't think it's going to be by Francis Ngannou. I think Deontay Wilder came very close, as we saw, but if somebody's going to beat him, it's going to be somebody with that big physical profile, with actual boxing experience, and someone who can really kill you. And Francis Ngannou, we haven't seen it in a boxing ring, and I don't think he's going to show up in his first boxing match and beat the best heavyweight in the world. That's one. Two, with the heavyweight division in general, this is why this is disappointing. Even though I'm going to watch this, like, I'm with you. I'm going to watch the fight. I'm not going to be like, hey, can we do a live? I'm not going to be running to do that. As a matter of fact,
Right.
I don't even think I'm going to be in New York. I think I'm going to be I think I'm going to be out of the state for doesn't matter. But I think I'm going to be out of the state is the point. So I might not even be able to see this like comfortably from my home, and that we get on the live stream anyway. But people talk about the heavyweight division, and with Anthony Joshua this week, he had said, look, I felt like the heavyweight division was better when I was champion, more or less is what he said. Well, I don't think him being the champion was the reason the heavyweight division was better, but you have a lot of talented heavyweights now. We used to say this about the Klitschko's in their division when they were running the division. And it's like the heavyweight division is boring. And a big part of that, though, was the competition. Now you actually have some good heavyweights. You have Deontay Wilder, who's interesting, and who's a former champion, who's probably going to get another shot at the title at some point. Andy Ruiz is probably going to fight him. He's a former champion. That's an entertaining fight. Anthony Joshua's going to fight Dillian White. I mean, okay, cool. But like, at least they're guys that are like legit heavyweights, and Anthony Joshua in particular, right? Jared Anderson's on the come up. He's maybe the best prospect in the sport right now, according to some. And he's somebody who's at the heavyweight division, is exciting, and knocked out everyone he ever fought up until Charles Martin, who's a former champion that he beat in his last fight. There are plenty of guys at the heavyweight division, then obviously Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury at the top. We're not getting enough of them fighting each other. That's really the issue in every weight class at this point. But this is kind of like the welterweight division, where it's become a one fight weight class that we're kind of waiting on happening. And at least in the welterweight division, it's finally happening with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, which we're going to cover the shit out of coming up. But for this, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, like, we need to get this fight because these guys aren't getting any younger. Usyk is sneaky older than Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury is out here fighting Francis Ngannou, and Alexander Usyk is fighting Daniel Dubois. And I'm not that interested.
You know, it's interesting. You just kind of mentioned that we're kind of waiting for this one fight in the heavyweight division. I'm not going to lie to you. There's also been talks about Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz. That's a fight that I actually want to see.
Wilder
that
and
is,
Joshua also.
yes, exactly. But I actually think, obviously, it's more likely right now at this point that we are going to get Wilder and Ruiz, because there's been so much back and forth where we know where Anthony Joshua is going to do. Right. So I think it's very likely that we get this Ruiz and Wilder fight. They've been going back and forth on social media. And that's a fight that I actually really, really want to see. I actually kind of want to see it more than Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, to be honest with you, because Andy Ruiz has cut down. He looks to be in great shape. And at this point, I think it'd be a really good test for him to fight a guy like Wilder. Right. And some people think Wilder is just going to knock out Andy Ruiz. I actually think Andy Ruiz is going to be a tough out. Those quick hands. I don't know if Wilder has seen those type of quick hands before. I don't think people give Andy Ruiz enough credit. Like, he is very, very underrated. That's a bet when we do, if it does happen, because, you know, in boxing, sometimes this stuff doesn't happen. That is a fight where I don't know how I would bet, because I think that's a really, really good fight.
I know how I'm betting that fight.
You're probably going with Wilder knockout.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I might be leaning towards, and I think Wilder would be the favorite on straight up on the money line. I would actually just bet on Andy Ruiz straight up on the money line. I think.
You're nuts.
I think I would. You know why? You know why? Because Wilder, when you think about those Tyson Fury fights, that's like a lot of age. Those are boxing years that get put on you. Like, he went through hell. Like, we don't even think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas, and like the Andy Ruiz we're seeing now is a total different Andy Ruiz that we've ever seen. And he looks better than ever. A little bit of like not the best performance in this last fight. However,
he got knocked down 3 times by old ass Luis Ortiz. Yes,
I know, but here's the thing: there was some rust, right? Like, he was coming back in the ring after a minute. And here's the thing: it's like, everyone's like, oh, he got knocked down, but he got right back up. Ended up winning that fight, right? So I think there's something to say there. Yeah, I think Andy Ruiz is a little bit underrated. People don't give him enough credit. and he's got quick ass hands for a guy that is that big. So I think that makes for an interesting fight. Any final thoughts before we hop up out of here?
Or did he knock down Luis Ortiz 3 times actually? But regardless,
Luis Ortiz looked bad in that fight, from what I remember.
and Andy Ruiz barely won it, which was
Yeah.
telling to me. I There's not even a second thought. There's not even a second thought for me. I think that if Tyson Fury, I mean, if Tyson Fury, if Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz fight, I think Deontay Wilder is gonna knock the shit out of him out. And I think Andy Ruiz, like I was looking through his box rec just now. Yes, probably the fastest guy Deontay Wilder's fought. Credit to you for that. He's in shape. Don't care. I think Deontay Wilder's gonna knock him out. He could potentially do it early in the first 6 rounds. I'll look at what the group round betting is for when that fight comes around. Let's say when, because I do think it's going to happen. And biased, I hope it's at Barclays Center, even though I think they might put it in California, but we'll see. But that's a fight that, yeah, I'm more interested in Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz versus Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. I'm more interested in Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua than Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. I'm more interested in Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. I'm more interested in Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder if that were to happen, right? I'm not more interested in Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. I'm not more interested in Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. Those are
To be honest with you, I don't care about this Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou fight so much that I would sit down and watch another Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua fight. I would rather do that than watch this fight, because that's how much I'm not feeling it. I'll watch it,
By
and
the
I'm
way,
telling you, I'm just not gonna be happy about it.
probably should have mentioned this 20 minutes ago. Big Francis Ngannou guy, right? Like I was a believer when he was in the UFC, and even after he had his first loss, where he was very gun shy. I thought that he was somebody that he could be very well. He was gun shy in the second loss, actually, Derek Lewis. I thought that he could be a star, and he is that. And I love what he's doing and trying to like show people, hey, you can make your money away from the UFC. You can take ownership. He has equity in PFL and the things that they're trying to do for fighters. And I think all that is awesome. I also think he's going to get his ass whooped by Tyson Fury, which is okay because he's the best heavyweight in the world, regardless of sport, maybe at this point. And look, interesting fight. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to make a shit ton of money. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be on ESPN, likely ESPN pay-per-view, I'm sure, because it's two massive names in combat sports, two of the biggest names, both literally and figuratively, in combat sports. But in terms of a fight, it's going to be a one-sided fight. It just is.
But I'm sure a lot of UFC fans are going to be taking Francis Ngannou to get the knockout. I know a lot of casual fans are going to be looking forward to this fight and being hyped for this fight. If you have any comments, drop them below. Let us know how you feel about this fight. Are you going to have a fight party for this fight? That's what I want to know. Is it fight party worthy?
Do you want us to have one? Because if you want us to have one, we can figure it out.
Please, I don't want to, but let us know if you do, because if there's enough of you, then maybe we could do it.
We definitely are. We'll say this too before we get out of here. We definitely are having fight parties for both of the big fights coming up later this month.
We will
be on the lookout for that. That's why it's been one. It's been a little dead in terms of boxing, if we're being honest, like these last couple of weeks. Two though, like when I come back from vacation, because I'm going to be gone for a few days, it's on. Because we got Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue. Stephen Fulton just landed in Japan. Looks great. The fight is getting so much attention out there, which is great to see. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be huge. And we obviously have the big one later this month with Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. We are going to go have post-fight shows for both of those. So one of them will be at a weird time, but we're going to let you know about that when we actually know when the start time is. But we figured we let you know what's coming out later this month because we have some big plans for those two fights and whatever else between then and after that and so on and so forth.
And if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you aren't following us on our social media channels, make sure you do. It's at TheMandatory TKO. We're on IG, Twitter, TikTok. You'll be able to find us there. And if you're listening to this on the audio side, because yes, we do have an audio side, you can find us wherever you get audio. But if you got a quick minute, leave a rate and review, hit that 5-star. And thank you so much for rocking with the channel. If you've already done those things, we'll be back with some more content. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and make sure to drop your thoughts on this big fight with Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. We'll be right back.